Hi, I'm Zoa and welcome to my channel and my first full video that isn't just a weird short of some sort. Anyways, so I have something I need to get off my chest. Okay, so I know I'm late to the commentary on Five Nights at Freddy's games, but I have a theory that I need to just get out there. So grab a snack and maybe some water, some boba or something, get cozy and buckle up. So we all remember this gem, FNAF 4. So many people thought we were playing as the crying child. I still see that so many people seem to think that, and while yes, that theory is fair, this is FNAF, theories are what we are all about, but I really don't think that we're playing as Evan. Here's why. In the game, we're stuck in this little bedroom that has 2 doors. Now that's gonna come up in a moment. But you see here? These crazy looking guys? Yeah. Where have I seen those silly little guys before? Oh yeah, here we go. FNAF 3, where we're playing as Michael Afton. And in these games, the animatronics look eerily similar to the Phantom ones we see before. All of them looking like amped up versions of what we saw before, having the multiple rows of teeth like Foxy always had and the extremely withered animatronic look. A lot of people say these illusions or nightmare animatronics are because of illusion discs, and yes, as that would explain a small portion of why Evan was the crying child, and so scared of those cutesy-tootsy animatronics we all know and love. But Michael was already doing everything he could to make him scared of them. So, would it really even make sense that they were already a thing? Because Michael and Elizabeth weren't scared of them, so the discs didn't exist when the crying child was around, with no one but the crying child being scared of them. And we weren't even introduced to the idea of the illusion discs being in the game until Sister Location came around. It just wouldn't make sense that the discs would already exist, because wouldn't Elizabeth have stayed away from Baby? Wouldn't Michael have not wanted to get near them either? Close enough to kill his brother? So perhaps even in that detail itself would explain where Afton got some of his inspiration from for the illusion discs. Michael constantly scaring Evan, and eventually, inevitably, accidentally killing him with one of his dad's animatronics. I mean, we're all pretty sure that Michael accidentally killing Evan is what stemmed Afton to go crazy and start killing kids off to begin with. So maybe, just maybe, Michael always scaring Evan is what inspired the illusion discs to begin with, which would make it less likely that the crying child would have been alive during illusion discs. Afton would have already created those after he lost his first child in an attempt to protect his other remaining children. Perhaps not, though, as Elizabeth never seems scared of them. So maybe they're only directed at Michael. Maybe Afton wants to attempt to keep him at a distance from snooping around in his business. Anyways, back to the room. It doesn't quite look like the layout of the crying child's room. Now, I think there's some seriously intentional details here pointing at this being Michael and not the crying child. The 2 doors. Keep in mind, every single detail in this game is worth looking into. So perhaps these 2 doors represent that this room is a mix of Michael Afton and Evan's room in one. I think our character in this game is still Michael Afton. And all of this is his nightmare from his guilt after killing his brother and watching him die, surrounded by flowers, hooked up to an IV. Michael stood there, and he just processed everything he had just done, mourning his little brother. And in Evan's last moments, he wasn't conscious enough to see and comprehend any of those inanimate objects, let alone his family. He could only hear the voices of them. He couldn't see them due to the fact that he was sadly on his way out, his head crushed and brother beside him full of regret, wishing he had never picked on his little brother and put him near that animatronic, wishing that he was a better brother. So what I'm saying is, the crying child probably didn't even know he was in the hospital. He probably didn't see anything after the bite. He likely wasn't even very conscious, if at all, after that. but Michael was. So in these dreams, he puts himself in his little brother's shoes, over and over and over again. This guilt drives him crazy, but it also keeps him going, knowing what he needs to do to make things right. That this is another hurdle to stopping his father, William. Now, here's one of the things that convinced me most that we are not playing Evan. If you listen closely, you can also hear some peculiar sounds in the background. Sounds that only someone who's worked somewhere like, Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria. So this is all a nightmare of what he's already been through himself as a security guard, mixed up in his feelings of guilt over his brother, creating a reoccurring spooky nightmare of Michael Afton's guilt and traumas. Now, it seemed to be one of the biggest arguments of why we were playing the crying child is because the mini-games all surrounded the crying child the most, from his perspective, his experiences. But in Pizza Simulator, we play as William Afton in a minigame, yet we're still good old Mike in the game itself. So I believe these mini-games are a reflection and a way of Scott telling us the story. It's a reflection of what Michael knows he did to his little brother, the way he knew how miserable and scared he always was, and how differently he should have treated him while he was still alive. Because maybe then, just maybe, things would have been different for the Afton kids. Alrighty then, that concludes everything I have for this video today. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to give it a like and subscribe. Maybe I'll talk more about FNAF. Alright, bye now. Thank you for watching.